This is inside of one of the famous Bangladeshi ball pit kilns. It is one of the hardest ways you can possibly make a living. It is back-breaking work. You're sucking down coal fumes all day long. Let's get out of this guy's way.
For over 100 kilometers, the horizon is choked by thousands of chimneys belching out thick, black coal smoke.
Raging furnace that is underneath us. If this collapses, everybody here.
It's a landscape that feels less like a city and more like a post-apocalyptic movie set, where every surface, every leaf, every person is stained in this permanent rust-colored orange.
6 months a year, these guys are living here with their entire families. Men, the women, the children, you're just camping out.
This is where the promise of a modern Bangladesh runs into a 1,000-degree furnace and just doesn't come out the other side.
I cannot imagine that this is very good for your lungs. In fact, it's probably the worst thing you could do to your lungs.
Oh no! The brick kilns are meant to be a thing of the past, something the government can point to and say, we moved on, we're a developed nation. But they're still here, brought back, still burning away, still feeding the construction boom.
Like, don't get me wrong, I'm sick already, but I can taste the stuff in my throat already. I would not want to be living here.
So today, we're headed into the dust to see why this industry just refuses to die, and who ends up paying the real price for every brick laid. It starts at the water's edge. Thousands of tons of raw river clay are shipped in from across the country and unloaded, typically with zero machinery. Instead, they use a human conveyor belt, men forming chains to haul thousands of kilos of mud off these boats, one basket at a time. You do see some bulldozers, and those can do the work of 1,000 men easily, but the majority of these places are still moving clay the old way, the human conveyor belt. Not because it's faster or better, but because it's still cheaper. And when machines like those lose you on price, you get a pretty clear picture of what these guys must be getting paid.
This guy, he's going to start just like digging away at it. And they're putting it into these motor-driven kind of mashers to turn this kind of raw river clay into something that is more malleable, more shiftable, something that's able to be turned into a brick. These guys are just sledging away all day. Luckily, they seem to have discovered the wheelbarrow at this point in process anyway.
The scale here is just mind-boggling. You see mountains of clay piled up along the riverbank, ready to be fed into the mashers. These wheelbarrows are the bridge between the raw river mud and the finished product. It's basically the only step where the wheelbarrow is apparently preferred over the head carry.
At various intervals in this giant drying pit, they have the guys that are actually putting the riverbank clay into the molds to dry.
The molding station is where the chaos turns into order. A worker takes the molded clay, sections it off, and slams it directly into a wooden frame. There's a trick to it. They add a thin layer of fresh, dry sand to the outside of the clay, or just to the frame itself. Without that sand, the wet clay would stick to the wood, ruining the shape and slowing down the entire 50,000 brick per day operation.
How long do the bricks dry here before they go in the kiln?
5 days, 7 days. 5 to 7 days.
There we go, 5 to 7 days. So operation is huge.
Drying is just the halfway point. Now comes the logistical nightmare of moving hundreds of thousands of bricks towards the central smokestack.
Hi guys, so once the bricks have dried for that like 5 to 7 day period, entire families are here just stacking them up.
It's not one person clocking in, it's the entire household. You're being paid by the total number of bricks that the family produces, so everybody is in on this, from the oldest grandmother down to the smallest kid. They're doing whatever jobs they can to get the bricks done that day.
You've got this huge expanse here, easily the size of a football field, that has to be filled in the next day or so. And it is kind of crazy.
And this was the first stage where I really started to notice the child labour. It doesn't feel all that sinister, like movie villain-esque. It's not like they're employing these kids directly without their parents or something like that, but it's just kind of normalised. The entire family's here, and you still catch yourself thinking like, man, I kind of wish these kids were in school.
That was a good shot. You a cricket bat?
देखो बैट तो देखो.
Wow. That's pretty dope. Guys, Bangladesh cricket bat. These kids doing God's work. Okay, future Saki Al Hassan.
Watch the pattern. There's just enough structure here to stand on, but enough gaps for the fire to breathe. These kilns are loaded into one of 56 chambers that make up the massive circular kiln. It is grueling work, and for all this effort, the workers might walk away with just
Train tracker per trolley, like 100 bricks. In average per day, they can earn like 600 to 700 or maybe 800, not more than.
In a day.
Yeah, in a day.
barely enough to survive the season, and that price is just for the registered worker, which is typically the male in the family. Now comes the fire, and it's basically coal, and more coal.
I can feel the heat emanating through my feet because what is separating all of us from certain death is maybe a few layers of bricks.
Indonesia.
Ah. Why do you have two? Why do you have two?
Mix.
Two mix.
To mix and mashing.
Ah, to mix it together. What's the better coal, Indonesian or India?
India.
Which one best?
Better
Camera.
Australia.
Australia's the best. You guys heard that on camera, right? Australia's the best, then Indonesia, then India. Get that right. It's probably the correct order for the cricket as well.
Once the chambers are packed, they keep it burning for 10 to 15 days straight, feeding the kiln around the clock.
And that's just from like this coal dust imported from Indonesia. Like incredible, the amount of output, the amount of heat, but then also the amount of just smog.
And all that smoke, all that coal, it just goes straight up the unfiltered chimney into the air that everybody is breathing in. Everybody, not just here, but in all of Dhaka, the second largest city on earth with almost 37 million people.
I've been wearing this mask for hours while walking around Dhaka. Now, as you can see, it's caked in dust and dirt. Visible evidence what people are breathing in here in the capital, Dhaka.
Children under 10 are the most affected, especially in polluted areas like industrial zones and slums. Cases have increased significantly compared to previous years.
This isn't new. Bangladesh has been trying to fix this problem for years. The brick kilns have been periodically banned, shut down, declared illegal. And boy, was it different when they were. The brick towers stood there silent, and you could breathe. You could see the sky. It felt calm. It felt peaceful. Now, it's that black and orange fog swallowing everything. The air burns your throat. The sky disappears. It's not subtle. It's one of the most thick, toxic smogs you have ever seen. They'd been shut down, or at least that's what they looked like from the road. And honestly, I kind of get it. Dhaka is regularly up there with the worst air quality on the planet. In 2024, Dhaka averaged an air quality that was 15 times WHO annual guidelines.
People are suffering, and it's taking a toll on their health.
I wear a mask while riding a bike because of the dust and viruses. Most people should wear one to protect themselves from severe pollution.
Numbers that bad don't mean it's a little hazy out. It means your lungs are dying one breath at a time, and it's all of Dhaka suffering. And Bangladesh's Department of Environment has reported that around 58% of the fine particles in Dhaka come directly from these brick kilns. So if you're thinking that unfiltered coal burners running all day on the edge of the city, pumping out micro orange clay particles and coal smoke into the air might be pretty hazardous for your health, well, yeah, you would be right. The final stage is the most backbreaking. There are no wheelbarrows here, only heads. So workers carry massive stacks of finished bricks on their heads, day in and day out.
I genuinely cannot get over this. This is just some of the most insane technique I've seen.
They load them into beat-up Bedford trucks. Their face is this permanent orange, stained by the same dust that's going to stick to their lungs forever.
Guys, these guys make Donald Trump look like normal colored. Just everything here is orange. So we're gonna load up these baskets pretty high. We've got a bit of a head pad. How do you get it up? Wow. Oh my God. Wow. Wow, dude, what? Dude.
Wow. Australia. Wow.
Dude, what?
But the second problem is just as dark, and that's the labour model. Before the season starts, contractors visit the poorest villages across Bangladesh and offer cash advances. Maybe a few thousand taka to cover rice, medicine, whatever crisis that family is currently in. And for people with nothing, that money keeps them alive, so they take it, and it's often a trap. That advance isn't a loan, it's a purchase, and that family now owes the contractor their labour for the entire season. Everybody locates to the kiln, including the children, and while they're not explicitly employing the children and the women, their labour is implied as it's needed to hit the brick quotas. But because of the lack of contract and the illiteracy, it's ripe for exploitation, and the contractors frequently control the ledger and deduct things like housing, broken bricks, tools, you name it. The families frequently never see the books. The actual take home is a fraction of what they're offered. And so next season, they start deeper in that hole. That's the nuts and bolts behind how this kind of debt slavery or advanced bondage systems now work. They skirt the laws with these advanced payments. The cycle just resets every year. This isn't some one-off factory. There are thousands of these kilns. They just stretch down the river as far as you can see. Each one has its own settlement built right into it. These bamboo suburbs that are thrown together, this mix of timber, bamboo, and plastic. And every season, tens of thousands of families move for 6 months to staff them.
Alright guys, this is what it's like inside these tiny bamboo huts that the workers live in these bull pit kilns. Let's check it out. Dirt floors, like one simple bed, your clothes hanging on the outside of the kind of like the bamboo structure, and you have a fan there, and that's pretty much it. You're just camping out like this for 6 months. On the outside, you got a little bit of a garden going, some veggies maybe. That's a nice addition. And then there's a little cooker down here that you can get by with. And this is her house. She doesn't want to see. So you really are, you're just camping out.
Whole families uproot their lives. They bring their kids, their grandparents, and they live right in the shadows of these giant coal stack burners. Once you're living on site, everything is tied to the kiln.
And then if you're wondering about the toilets, because why not? This is how it works. It's just kind of like communal toilets on the side of the river here. Just one sheet for privacy, and then a straight hole. Kind of amazing how many people fit inside this kind of like space. It kind of just goes on and on. Same size structure, Same sort of layout. Guys, am I crazy? I've never seen a sort of like horizontal mortar and pestle. So we load this kind of like puffed rice, you called it. Puffed rice, or what I would call Rice Krispies. Usually we'd eat this for like breakfast in the West. We'll load in some masala, a little bit of chili. What is that? Wow, masala mix. And on top, that's cucumber. Salt. A bit more chili. Mix it all together. This is like the bag of spoons, and this is the newspaper that gets rolled up to serve it with it. It's got like this portable table. It's a great little setup. Hi guys, so this is that kind of like crazy curried Rice Krispie dish that they seem to be selling in the sort of working housing here. It's spicy, crunchy from that cucumber. The salad comes in pretty good. Honestly, I was expecting, like, when I saw that, I'm used to this kind of dish, like sweet and with milk. But that's pretty decent. I'd eat that. 5 taka. No, 10 taka.
10 taka, yeah.
So why did they restart these kilns after the bans and the crackdown at all? And it seems real simple to me. There's just no alternative. Bangladesh is addicted to bricks. The country has more than 7,000 kilns producing 23 billion bricks a year. The sector employs nearly 1 million people. Authorities still raid and shut down kilns, they'll demolish chimneys, but stopping it for good means you need to come up with an answer. If the kilns go quiet, then where do 23 billion bricks a year come from? And what happens to everyone who survived off that seasonal work?
As everything is shut down here in this kiln, I'm worried about how I'm going to pay for my children's expenses. How would I go back home?